What's up, YouTube? It's your boys, NBSB Gaming here with Trent. Trent, how'd you do at regionals yesterday?
I got 10 for the Los Angeles Regional Qualifier, NBSB.
Hell yeah. Trent was undefeated up until like what, round 8, right?
Round 7.
Round 7, lost the last 2 rounds, or lost one and then...
I lost one and then won one and then lost the last one.
Oh, okay. Dang. It's all so close, but it's okay. Let's get into the deck profile.
Yeah, sorry. So I played Purrely. I played it for Yuma and I also played for Vegas. Vegas was a bit of a rough one for me because I was sick, but LA came back healthy as could be, so let's jump into it. So I played like pretty much the standard Purrely lineup. I talked about a lot of my last profile, why I played certain things. I'll just say real quick on this, I think you still play 3 Street. It's really bad against Flu, so I was deciding to bunch them out. In Flu, I went down to 1 in the 1 Flu I played against, but I would have done that for every Flu. Yeah, it's just kind of bad against them, but against other certain matchups, it's really, really strong. And a lot of Fenrir, so this beats Fenrir, just like the same in cash format. But yeah, I don't have a lot more to say on the Purrely cards that I haven't already said. So if you're interested in those, just check out the other video, because I talked a lot about why I play certain things in those. So that's the Purrely engine. I stuck still with 3 Prosp. I do not regret this at all. I got Drolled a little bit more. I think it's because Cash wasn't around, so Droll is even more popular. But even if I did get Droll, like, you still discard it. Like, it just is a good card to, if you brick, you have Prosperity, you unbrick, and then you get Droll, you still can play. So I don't see a reason why I wouldn't play this. This is a good follow-up. I top decked it a few times, and then I have a crazy story about hitting off Princess Bride and winning a match because of it. So that was cool. Yeah, so 3 Prosp. And then now the knowledge is kind of like the fun part of Purrely, I think, because Purrely is a deck about doing your main thing, but also having a lot of other things that kind of catch your opponent off guard, and they never really know truly what you're playing. That's why you can really mix it up, and I did mix it up for all 3 events. I did not play the same thing. So for this event, I played 3 Fenrir. This is by far the best discard outlet, and by far the best going second card, and by far the best going first card. I often just summon this, and then summon a Purrely Noir, and my opponent scoop. Like, I had that happen at least 2 times. Because just the mere fact of having 2 things where they have to deal with is way too much. But yeah, I would play this card like infinitely over and over again. So these 6 cards, Ash and Nibiru, were both firmly in the camp of okay. This card is always super polarizing. I don't love this card, but I think if the matchups is good against, it's good, and it made me feel safe. I think it was Jesse Cotton who said it feels like a torrential tribute. If it wasn't him, I apologize to whoever said it was, but it feels like a torrential tribute, which is totally correct. You know, you have a Noir, and they've just spent a lot of cards to get rid of the Noir, so if you have this in your hand, and they're getting rid of the Noir, they're probably already summoning it 5 times, and then they probably don't have time to also put them in negate, so you have this to follow up back on. I swear to God, I only activated Ash like, I think 1 time. Just did not like me in this tournament. I might have discarded it a few times too, so, and also a few times I just didn't want to activate it. I was really scared of Talons, and the cards are really, really strong, and I only had like 1 engine, so it's like when you only have 1 engine, you only have Ash, you Ash them, and the Talons look at your hand, they're going to rip the engine if they know what they're doing. And then you're like, well, now I can't play, and I ashed them, and it probably wasn't enough anyway. So, unfortunately, this is probably the best card in the slot to play, but if there was a better card, I would not be playing Ash right now. I also played 3 Imperm. I explained in my last profile that this is the best hand trap because you can't get talents with it. It doesn't matter if you draw. Off Noir because you need to go for a second anyways. Going first, you just discard it. If they clear the whole board, you have it. Follow up, it's a free discard. This card has literally 0 downsides. It does not matter if you draw off Noir. So continue to play it. The Mourner and Effect Veiler instantaneously lose the talents, and they're really bad. So they don't do anything. This does a ton. And the last 2 cards, so I played 40, and my last 2 cards to round it off was 2 talents. I thought about a lot playing 41 and playing 3 talents because this card was like MVP for me. I almost exclusively used it to take. I never looked at their hand, and I think I drew 2 once, but I think I resolved this card like 6-7 times, and every single time it was, or almost every single time it was take. Taking is far and away just amazing because in this deck it's like 2 for 1. You get to take their card, do something with it, and then you get to send Summon Beauty and suck up a card. So it's like it just trades like infinitely well. This card's really, really strong. I would probably not play Thrust, but yeah. So that's it for the main deck. I don't know if I would change much about it, but I think coming up, Purrely is a really, really strong deck going to AGov and in this format still. It's just because the format's so wide, it's like impossible to prepare for everything. So that was the most rounded things I can't get to play. I think for us to lose is just way too much stuff. It's too hard to set up. At least Talents is like, it can be just always good. It sometimes isn't, but Thrust is like even more situationally not as good in this deck specifically. But yeah, let's move on to the side deck. So for side, I still sided the 3 crossed out. I wanted to main it, and then I realized that books aren't being mained, and that was the only cards that I really wanted to main it for. Which was a correct call. I barely saw any books. This card was not very good. I would have liked it more if I thought more people played Dimensional Barrier, but Tier doesn't really side into Dimensional Barrier. I think that Unchained is probably siding into Anti-Spell. Flu is weirdo. They're playing like Stellar Storm, so it's like, what can you do? You don't care about the hand traps. Like, the most thing I was siding in for was just for Ash and Imperm, and I was like siding out 2 Ashes and 2 Imperms and siding in this. And even then I was like, man, I just kind of didn't want this. It was really cool in the mirror match. Shout out to Walter Jewell. Walter Jewell's the GOAT. He told me a long time ago that if you side this in the mirror, you call a Purrely Yeep, and I won the mirror match because I called Purrely Yeep off this. So that was really broken. That was really, 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 really strong. If I'm gonna keep it in, it's gonna be just for the mirror. This was a card that I only resolved once, but when I saw it, I was like, this card's awesome. I honestly would probably cut the crossouts and switch those for also Cosmic Cyclone and just play all 5 because it's still like the same thing. Yeah, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. This card was good in the matchups it was good against. Obviously, it's good against Tier. But I think the reason it's good is because you don't actually usually do it on turn 1 against Tier, you do it on turn 2. You don't necessarily care about the Fierce Fusion, you kind of care about the fusion on your turn because they get the Pellerino, they get to mill more, like whatever. So this card can mostly interrupt them on their turn, plus drawing it off of Noir is obviously phenomenal because you can just play it and it's really good. This can also be good against Chimera because you can hit the fusion card in the grave, and maybe the Quaddle or the Sword Knight if you can't play around the targeting with like Beauty or something. But that match was really hard for this deck, so I would side in for this as well, and you need more cards against them. And I didn't, this was my last minute swap from Druisburn because I think a lot of people correctly assess that it's hard to summon Druisburn against Unchained, and then if they just end on time 2 for Druid, you can't Druisburn them for Tier, so yeah, this card is probably just better generically. And so here's my really, really spicy tech. I've realized over the past couple weeks that Flu is like an impossibly hard matchup if they open either Book or the Quick Play spell, I don't remember the name of, or multiple tributes or the map. Like, that matchup was really annoyingly hard. Talent, they also play a million Talents cards, they play Storm. So if you have a way to interrupt them or just turn off their game plan completely, it's amazing. Funnily enough though, the match that this game won me was Salad. I opened this card, I opened Pretty Memory, I discarded, I set Beauty, I set up a Happy Memory, and then I just changed, end phase, I set it, I activated it, I set one card, he normal summons Spinny, he tries to link, and I'm like, what are you linking for? And he says, oh, I guess you're right, and because this whole extra deck was Cybers. They require Cybers, so and they're all zombies, you can't get rid of it. Even if you have Will and you can make Sunlight Wolf, like, what do you do with one Sunlight Wolf? You're not getting to a field spell, like, if you're not getting anything back, what is that doing? So it was, like, insane. This was really, really good against the match. Was really, really against. I probably wouldn't side against Unchained, even though I theorized doing that. And the last 3 cards were Droll. I wish yeah, Sandscribe is insane against Tier. I think if I saw it against the hero guy earlier, and he didn't open Ferris, could have won that one. It's really not good against Unchained, but I just, obviously against Flu, it's not worth maining because there's a lot of random stuff that's just not that great against. It sucks against the mirror. Like, my opponent kept it in and he drolled me twice in 2 turns, and I still won 2-0 against that guy, so And he drilled me every time, so I don't feel like it does anything. It's like a bad Ash. When Ash would have stopped me, this card just stopped me from continuing, but it didn't really because I just something from deck anyways. Yeah, I can search a bunch, but who cares? Like, you don't need to do that when they're wasting a card in their hand and possibly losing other cards. So this card's really good. Yeah. And then on to the extra. The extra's pretty standard. I'll just talk about one thing real quick. So I played 2 X Purrely Noir, 2 Purrely Happiness, 2 Purrely Beauty, 1 Purrely Noir, 1 Purrely Pump. I said last time in the last profile, this is kind of the only thing I really want to talk about, is Zeus. So I said last time I played 2 Zeus, and I still play 2 Zeus. 2 Zeus is really, really important for the mirror. It's important for tier now because of like Time Thief or Doer and stuff, so taking their XYZs. I think had I played my Sprite in the last round a little bit better, I probably could have taken his Gigantic with my tactics and then made Zeus. It was just really hard to bait his cards. Yeah, but I think 2 Zeus is really important, and giving yourself room to banish one of the extra deck is also good for Prosperity. So yeah, and then the Zeus one's Slacker. This card's still really, really crazy good. It's even kind of better now in some ways because Eclipse isn't as prevalent. So this beats a lot more of the targeting cards that are in the format right now. And it makes sure your play is really safe, and you can go in main phase 2 as priority after the effect. You don't need to make downer. You can keep the downer in your extra deck for when you also make another Zeus on subsequent turns, because it's usually what happens when you're Zeusing. You're making a second one later. So yeah, this one's really good. It actually hit for me yesterday for a Prosperity, which won me the game against Tri Brigade in my round 7. That made me 7-0. You play a lot of spells. It's worth playing. I even play more spells than I play tactics. So yeah, and then the last 2 cards, 2 links, Anima and Azalea. Link Rebo was a thought, but I think this card's more worth it. I made this a lot. I didn't make this that much because I didn't see many people debury me, but it's still worth playing, and it's can bait some cards. But yeah, I would consider Dark Charmer, but I don't know what I would cut. It would probably just be this or this. His sex check's so tight. Dark Charmer would just be there for some like tier cards maybe. But yeah, that's kind of for the extra deck.
All right, thanks for the deck profile, Trent. Any shoutouts you want to do?
Yeah, so some shoutouts. Definitely to NBSB. Everyone in our group, they're all killer players. We test so much. Shout out to Rare and Sleeveless. This is the best store, Southern California, San Diego, anywhere in the world. Come on down if you're in Sereno Valley, San Diego. It's awesome. We had a really great vibe going on here, and I cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, shout out to Rare and Sleeveless, and shout out to Sydney Theodore Elias, because he's a GOAT and he got 7th. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. This is NBSB signing out. Peace.